and welcome to another episode of Adventures in Glass with Doug. That's me. We are going to do something kind of cool today. If you've watched any of my videos, and I'm sure you have, you know that we kind of come up with some crazy ideas with thrifted glass. And today we're going to try something in the green range, similar to what I did in my last video where I thought it looked like the Grinch. Well, this one is going to be the Green Witch. You'll know that if you have been watching a couple episodes back, I did one in red that to me seemed like a red witch. So today we're going to kind of equal things out a little bit and we'll do a green witch. So what are we going to use today? Well, I've got this candle stand that is crackle glass that I've had for a while, and I've really wanted to use it, and I just never came up with anything for it. So I'm going to use that today. A green vase that I think is going to really hold it well, and it's nice and sturdy, it's nice and heavy. I don't think it's going to tip or anything. I will point out, as I have many times in terms of our glass, this is not a true colored glass that was blown as a color of glass. Rather, it was clear glass that's been tinted. And again, the way that you can figure it out, if you look on the base, this actually has kind of a nice little square that was where the label once was, I guess, and it was peeled off and took some of the tinting that was applied with it. And it's got some scratches on it, and if you really look close and hold it up to the light, you'll see it's missing some of the tinting in a couple places. But for our purposes, I think it's fine. So we have that piece. I've cleaned it out inside and out. I've cleaned this piece inside and out. I have a green plate that we're going to use, and I have another narrow-necked bottle vase that I just got today. And I think in a previous video, if you had watched that, when I was talking about how to clean them, I'll explain how you can take a very narrow-necked bottle or vase and clean that out if it's got any kind of watermarks and things inside it. So the last piece that we're going to use is some lights that I'm going to put in it, battery operated. So that's going to just add a little pop to it, and I find those kind of exciting to do. I should point out that we're starting to see some of the Halloween decorations in the stores. I actually picked up a couple of these at Dollar Tree, which is now $1.25, but they're pretty good. There's 16 lights, which is good for something like this. You don't want too many lights in there. Battery operated. They had them in green and orange, and I expect if I had dug a little further, I probably would have found purple too. I may go back. So if you're thinking that you want to add lights at some time in the future to any of your projects, now is the time to go check things like the dollar store to find theirs. And as you get closer to Christmas, start looking for the ones that are red and multicolor and white. They should usually be pretty inexpensive too. So that's just a little tip on planning ahead. Well, let's get started. Give me a moment. Oh, I know. I was going to finish telling you about how to clean these. So what I explained in the last video was to clean out the inside of a bottle or a real thin vase, get some sand and put that down in there along with some water and make a slurry that will be abrasive, and then you can just swirl that around as long as it takes to get rid of any spots that you have that are have a film on them or are particularly dirty that you want to clean up. And then give it a good rinse and dry it out. Now, obviously I'm not going to be able to finish using this one today because I'm sure it won't dry out. I haven't yet figured out, but I'll probably put one of my marbles on the top of this when we're done too. Either clear or green, or maybe I can come up with a different color for it with my alcohol inks. Okay. Let me get that finished in terms of cleaning up, and we'll be back. Okay, let's get started with some of this. This is going to be our base stand. My wife wanted me to check with my level, because I've spoken many times about trying to get everything as vertical as possible and the tops level as possible. And I told her, well, I'm not really sure between the table and the turntable, and if I am really level or not. And so according to this, I'm mostly level with the turntable. Might be off a little bit. And this is mostly level across the top, although we're off to the side. So the only reason I have to be careful of that is by the time I stack all of this up, the last pieces I want to be level, not tilted off to the side. So that's kind of why I build them from the bottom up if I can, so then I know by the time I get to the top that if I have to make a correction, that's where I can do it. So we're going to get started with this. We're going to put our lights in. So let me see how we can do that. Now I've taken the lights out of their box. Put some batteries in just to check. Yes, indeed they work. Untwisted them a bit. And you will find that these thin brass wires, or I guess they're copper, can be a little unwieldy sometimes. Not a very big string of lights, and this is a fairly tall, narrow vase, so I'm not worried about them not filling the space. I just want to make sure we're down there. And I'm going to take a piece of tape. Teaser. Ooh. I think I'm going to take the batteries out, though. They're kind of heavy. And we've had a conversation in the comments with some of you about side up or side down with plates. This time I think I'm going to do my plate down, curved down, face down. Because of the look I want to have. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be outside on a porch or a patio. I know we talk about how the plate this way will act as a saucer to catch a lot of pollen and sticks and bugs sometimes and debris. That's just the nature of this. You're going to have to clean them off from time to time, but a little less of that when it goes this way. So let's say you're new to the channel and you're not really sure how all this goes together. We're pretty simple with what we do. We have 2 ingredients, 3 today because we've added lights to this, but the 2 ingredients are thrifted glass, and by thrifted I mean it might not be something you had, but you've gone out to a Goodwill or St. Vincent de Paul or another thrift shop and you've picked up some pieces that you think are interesting. And you're probably not going to spend a whole lot of money for them, and if you go on senior day, if they have a senior day, you should get a discount. So glass and 100% silicone. Now if you don't know where to find silicone, you should be able to find it in any basic hardware store, but if you're not sure, I have a link in the description below the video to a source on Amazon where you can get, I think, a 6-pack of them pretty reasonably. So it's 100% silicone as your adhesive. Yes, you can use epoxy, you can use E3000 or E6000, which basically are epoxies, but I don't find them, I don't know, I don't deal with epoxy that much. I don't find them that user-friendly in terms of being able to take it off if you made a mistake or redoing a piece where something got broken. So I stick with silicone. It's waterproof, and if you have your pieces sealed right and you let them dry, you should have no problems. Yes, occasionally you did get water leakage in them, and you may have to take them apart and dry them out and redo them. You do get breakage sometimes that you need to repair, but I like the silicone. So on the edge where your pieces are going to meet, put a nice bead of caulk, your silicone caulk. I use a turntable to help me line things up, but you still have to lean over and make sure you're good. Now, if I was concerned about this seal, it might almost be easier to check it this way. And now that I flipped it over, I can see that I was maybe not as centered as I thought. Well, now that we've got that sitting upside down, we really can't go with the next piece until that dries a little better. But a couple of quick tips. As I said, we're waiting on this piece to dry, and I was talking about the difference between what is clear glass that has been tinted on the outside with either a film or a paint, and glass that is blown as a colored glass. This should be green all the way through, much like a Coke bottle or something of that sort. While we're on the topic of interesting things, what I've done here is something that I'll share with you. If you have a hummingbird feeder, I know some of you probably do, and you're having trouble with ants that are kind of climbing down your hook and down your wire into your hummingbird feeder, stealing all your wonderful sugar syrup. One of the things that I've found is that if you can have a water break in there, they won't cross the water. So I have in the past found little Pyrex dishes. They've got to be larger than a shot glass. They have to really be broader diameter than something like this, because they'll get clogged with leaves or blossoms or something, and then the ants have a bridge to go across. So if you can take a hook, the kind of hooks that I use for my hanging pieces, silicone one of those to the bottom, silicone another one in the dish. Anyway, you can take and hang your hummingbird feeder below, a little bit of chain up to your hook. Above that, fill this with water, keep it filled with water, and that should be a break that won't allow your ants to go down into the hummingbird feeder. So I'm waiting for that to dry so I can use it with the hummingbirds. I'm waiting for this to dry so I can put my remaining pieces on. And once this dries out on the inside, we'll be back to finish this project up. Well, we let this dry overnight, this piece, and we're going to be flipping this back over to finish out that piece. But one of my very skinny bottles, the skinny green one you saw, is not quite dry on the inside, so I have that sitting in the sun outside, hopefully to dry. I told you I'm going to try and top it with one of my marbles, so I've already given that one coat of gold, and I'd like it to be a little better than that, so let me just add some. So I'll give that a spritz and let that dry. We're still waiting on the other green bottle to dry. Maybe I can take a minute to put one more piece on this. Okay. that's going to be our next step. So I need to get my silicone ready to go. Well, our next step is going to have to wait until I get my topper bottle completely dry. I'm going to have to make a decision about where to fasten my battery pack. Well, let's finish up this piece. So that piece is going to go on top to complete our witch's cap, if you will. This is another one of my older pieces that lost what was on top of it, and I'm going to attach a bell that I found. So let's see if we can get our bell set to go on top. So here we have our finished green witch, and for comparison I brought in the red witch who happened to be in town. And of course I think the green witch has got it all over the red witch because we clearly got some lights inside. I had fun with this one. It still needs its gold marble up on the top, but I think it really looks kind of cool. And of course we have this one which is still drying, but I think that'll be a nice improvement over that. It's kind of a soft pastel piece. So there you have the green witch, the red witch. I think it's really cool.